So Paige Bueckers had a not great debut. I'm going to be honest, a not great debut. And it's funny when it comes to Paige. I'm there, I'm like saying, I'm in my comment section, people are genuinely like, oh, Paige is, she didn't do anything wrong in that game. She just missed a few shots. And I'm like, well, yeah, kind of. She didn't even try to do anything. She stood in the corner and watched. She didn't get blitzed. She didn't get pressed 94 feet by Dejanay. Ironically, Dejanay was on her team. She didn't even get pressed. They put their third best defender on her. Like, she was not a priority. And not only that, I was watching Myisha Hines-Allen take the ball up. As soon as there was a couple of possessions where Carly Samuelson kind of stepped up on her and looked like she was going to just even put slight pressure on her in the backcourt. And I'm watching Myisha Hines-Allen take the ball up. Like, it was not a great debut. If Paige Bueckers was the 6th pick in the draft, it would have been a fine debut. 10.7 boards, 2 assists on 30% shooting. It's fine. Paige Bueckers is supposed to be generational. And I'm sorry. This is from Yahoo. This tweet right here. Despite the loss, Paige Bueckers shined in her WNBA debut. No, she didn't. If you are going to coddle Paige Bueckers like this, then I'm sorry. You think, like, if this was shining, if 10 points and 30% shooting, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists to 2 turnovers, and more fouls than assists as a point guard, if that is shining, then just say you don't think Paige Bueckers is that good. Because Caitlin Clark, again, not the greatest shooting percentages. 20 points, again, 10 turnovers, not ideal. I think she had 5 assists as well. But you made sure to have her field goal percentage there. You made sure to have her turnovers, not her assists. You made sure for that. But, for Paige, in fairness, you did have her 2 assists, but that's at least a positive stat. You didn't have Paige's 2 assists to 2 turnovers, which in fairness, actually, Caitlin had more turnovers than assists. And the reality is like, Paige had a mediocre defensive game too. Not a bad defensive game, but mediocre. Like, I gotta say, what? They've gone soft now. Call the bank. There's got to be a lot of checks bouncing. Stop the lie. She played horribly. And it all depends. They went straight at Caitlin Clark. We're saying 30% of the field and 0% beyond the arc is shining. It's embarrassing. Where's the Sonia Citron graphic? And again, they've ignored the Sonia Citron graphic. Have they mentioned the Sonia Citron game? No. No, nothing about Sonia Citron. Nothing about Sonia Citron, who had 20 points on 7 shots, or 19 points on 7 shots. Nothing about Sonia Citron. But again, let's be honest. There's a double standard being set. And you know what? I would rather be the person that's going to be honest about Paige's performance. And when we got to talk about what standard, we got to reevaluate the situation. What is the standard we're setting Paige to? Caitlin Clark was an all-star as a rookie. And Caitlin Clark was being compared to the Aja Wilsons of the world. When she set foot in the WNBA, not as good as Aja, but that was the comparison that was there. She was day one being compared to Sabrina, to Kelsey Plum. And if she underperformed in comparison to them, it was seen as a failure. If she played against Sabrina Ionescu and Sabrina outplayed her, it was seen as a failure. If she played against Kelsey Plum and Kelsey Plum outplayed her, it was seen as a failure. That was the standard that was set for Caitlin Clark. We can say that Paige Bueckers shined with 10 points on 30% shooting. Like, we can say that Paige Bueckers signed. If the expectation is that Paige Bueckers is going to be the 6th best player, or the Paige Bueckers is going to be a 12-point per game scorer for her career, that Paige Bueckers is going to peak at Kayla McBride. If that is the standard we want to set for Paige, I'm fine with that. If you believe her peak is going to be Kayla McBride, then that's fine. If you think that Paige Bueckers is going to be just a bang average starter, that's fine. But if you have if you cannot simultaneously say Paige Bueckers is shining while calling her generational, because that 3-point game against the New York Liberty was not good enough from Caitlin Clark last year. Caitlin Clark had a bad debut. She had a bad debut, and she had an even worse second game. She was... I can't remember. One of the Liberty... They played Liberty back-to-back, and she was really good in one of them and really bad in the other one. And I can't remember which one it was. I think maybe it was the second game she was really bad and she was really good in the third one. I can't remember, but it was one she was really good, one she was really bad. She bounced back second game against the Sun. She bounced back against the Storm. Then she had a 30-point game against the Sparks. She won them a game against the Sparks. She had a 30-point game. She was putting up 20. And not only that, she was getting full court press. She was the scouting report. She wasn't the first name on the scouting report. She was the scouting report. And we can no longer, in good faith, make this comparison if we're going to coddle Paige Bueckers. Because Paige, if we're talking about Paige as an all-star as a rookie, this is not good enough. It is not good enough that she looked best out of the pick and roll and she didn't run the pick and roll. It's not good enough. And you know what? A lot of it is on the coach. But we saw Caitlin Clark in the exact same situation last year. And we saw Caitlin Clark just say, you know what? Screw Christy Sides, I'm doing me. And Paige seems to be too nice and fitting in. And she's got the male version of Christy Sides. And Paige only could get bad shots because it was impossible for her to get good shots in their non-system. It's something that's going to happen. And I understand it was against the Lynx. Paige is going to have some good games. Paige might bounce back and have a really good game next game. And then we can praise that really good game next game. But we can't coddle Paige. You cannot coddle Paige. And it's the media that accuses people of coddling Caitlin Clark. When they did everything but call Caitlin Clark a bust 10 games into her WNBA career when she was averaging 17 points and 6 assists. Yes, she was averaging 6 turnovers a game. It was like a 1-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. But the assist-to-turnover queen Paige is 1-to-1 right now. And you want to know what the easiest way to not turn the ball over is? Don't try to do anything. I mean that. The easiest way to not turn the ball over is to not try to do anything. And anytime there's a little bit of pressure on the ball, Paige gave it up straight away. Again, I liked that she was a little bit more aggressive than I hoped. She was definitely a little bit more aggressive than I hoped, especially in the second half. Even though she missed 6 shots in a row, she stayed aggressive. First possession looked aggressive. But we're going to be honest. The media is going to coddle Caitlin Clark till this debate, till it gets to the stage where Caitlin Clark is just, there's no debate anymore, and then they'll find the next person. Just like they'll do the same to Juju when she comes, they'll do the same, heck, to whoever's the number 1 pick next year. Just like they did the same to Angel Reese till it became undeniable. The media was making it saying that if people were, mentioning missed layups, that they were racist. They were making that a thing when it's basketball talk. And we got to talk basketball. If you believe Paige Bueckers is going to be an average starter in the WNBA, then this is a solid first game. If you believe Paige Bueckers is is a generational player, this isn't good enough. Because, yes, there weren't as many lows as Caitlin Clark's debut, because there didn't have to be lows. She wasn't being blitzed by Dejanay. She wasn't being blitzed. She wasn't being full court pressured. And anytime there was even the slightest bit of pressure towards Paige, she passed the ball, ran to the corner, and stood in the corner. That's the problem. That was the problem. The problem wasn't the stat line. The problem is that anytime there was any pressure or anything, outside of that one really nice pick and roll that she ran with Nalissa Smith and she split the player, there was no instinct there. There was no instinct. It was a bit of pressure, and it's just get the ball out of my hands. And I'm sorry, if you're going to talk about Paige Bueckers generational, which a lot of people are, then we have to hold Paige Bueckers to at least a comparable standard to Caitlin Clark. And I think Paige Bueckers has the ability to be the second best guard in the WNBA. I think she's got more natural. She's got more basketball ability than Sabrina, than Kelsey Plum. I think she's got more natural ability. But I'm sorry, like today, if you're going to talk about that, then today is not good enough. It is not good enough. Especially when Sonia Citron comes out, plays aggressive, and gives a 100-time better performance. Yeah. It wasn't she didn't shine today. She struggled. And we can be honest. When Paige Bueckers shines in a game, you better believe I'll be the first person to make a video on her game talking about how she shined. But we got to be honest. If we're going to say that she's shining in a bad debut, then who are we? We're just lying to ourselves then. Anyway, I'll see you guys.